Hey guys, today I am going to give an update on the Logan Paul versus Coffeezilla defamation case. There have been a lot of interesting things happening. Now on November 17th, there was a status report. The status report really helps Logan Paul. Coffeezilla is in a difficult position. There was another lawsuit, Attorney Tom, who is another YouTuber here. He sued Logan Paul in a class action. One of his clients, the lead client, was named Holland. So that case is Holland versus Logan Paul. And in that class action, the judge in that case decided to dismiss the majority of the claims. What Coffeezilla was hoping to do was he was hoping that case would determine Logan Paul was a scammer and then it resolved his case in his favor. Unfortunately, Attorney Tom and Holland and the class of plaintiffs, they basically were told to refile your claims because you don't have a winnable claim here. So the second joint status report, in compliance with the court's October 15th, 2025 order, docket entry 145, which requires a second joint update on the status of 1 mediation and 2 Holland versus Crypto Zoo. So Crypto Zoo, the Holland versus Crypto Zoo was Coffeezilla's best way to win this case. It would also do him a benefit and it would allow him to wait out and not pay as many legal fees to his lawyers, not pay as much deposition or discovery or a lot of very expensive legal and litigation issues would be delayed until at least the Holland case was resolved. And if it was resolved in Attorney Tom's favor, that would be a huge win for Coffeezilla. A second joint update on the status of 1 mediation and 2 Holland versus Crypto Zoo Inc. Blah, blah, blah. Plaintiff Logan Paul and defendant Stefan Feinstein in Coffee Break Productions, LLC, doing business as Coffeezilla. Together, the parties filed this second joint status report and state as follows. The parties have scheduled mediation with Don Philpin for December 4th, 2025. Accordingly, as the mediation deadline had been November 10th, the parties request that the court extend the deadline to December 4th, given the earlier mediation dates were unavailable. In the Holland litigation, the following activity has taken place in the time since the parties filed their initial joint status report on October 10th, 2025, docket entry 144. And the mediation, again, I had to go through mediation. Mediation doesn't mean jack shit. Mediation doesn't mean that you have to settle. In fact, most mediation is not going to work. In the Holland litigation, the following activity has taken place. On October 29th, 2025, United States District Judge Alan D. Albright entered an order adopting magistrate judge's report and recommendation, in which the court overruled all objection to the R&R, the report and recommendation, granted Logan Paul's motion to, and this is a huge win for Logan Paul. So the magistrate judge was fully on Logan Paul's side, and his recommendations at the time, they were seeing if the district judge would accept them. Obviously, Attorney Tom wrote a very lengthy and I thought a very well-reasoned argument of why the magistrate judge's opinions or recommendations should not be accepted, but obviously that didn't matter here. Order adopting the magistrate judge's report and recommendation, in which the court overruled all objections to the R&R, granted Logan Paul's motion to dismiss as to all 27 accounts. 27 counts. One with prejudice, which means it's not going to come back again, and 26 without prejudice, and dismissed the amended class action complaint with leave to amend. This is a devastating loss to Attorney Tom, all 27 counts were dismissed. So any reliance that Coffeezilla has on Attorney Tom, gone. And that was actually one of his stronger points, because not only would it save him a lot, it would save Coffeezilla a lot of legal fees, he could actually be part of that battle. And you saw that in this case where discussions were being had between Attorney Tom and Coffeezilla. Dismissed the amended class action complaint with leave to amend, and on November 12, 2025, the plaintiffs in that action filed a 210-page Second Amendment class action complaint in which they repled all 26 counts that they had been granted leave to amend, including claims for fraud, securities fraud, negligence, breach of contract, and violations of state consumer statutes. The parties request that the court schedule a status conference after the parties' December 4th mediation to address the status of the case. Now, you might be saying, okay, what's the big deal? They amended her claims. But part of it was who filed what when. So Attorney Tom in Holland, they sued Logan Paul. Then Logan Paul sued Coffeezilla. Coffeezilla's argument was because there was a pending previous case of Attorney Tom suing Logan Paul in CryptoZoo, that should come first. And his judge, and I think every judge will agree, yeah, that makes sense, right? Because you're talking about the facts in very similar ways. Now, that case being re-amended comes after Coffeezilla's case. So we have the first lawsuit, I'm just going to say Attorney Tom versus Logan Paul. That was essentially dismissed. Then we had Logan Paul suing Coffeezilla. Now we have a new re-amended lawsuit of Attorney Tom suing Logan Paul, or CryptoZoo. Yeah, it's up to Coffeezilla to win. You cannot rely on Attorney Tom anymore. He's got to win on his own accord, which is going to be very expensive. And I do not predict that Logan Paul will want to settle at this point in time. Anyway, let me know in the comments below if you guys agree, disagree. Still kind of sick, but decided to give you guys an update.